Hey, so have you heard? Inflation has actually decreased for the first time in months, and the knock-on effect is it's brought down interest rates for the first time in months. What does this mean to the housing industry? More importantly, what does this mean for prospective buyers who just needed that little extra nudge to get over that end line? Stay tuned for this version of Real Estate Roundup, a part of the Beyond Real Estate podcast.
Welcome to Beyond Real Estate with Jalen, the podcast discussing parenting, real estate, and business. Every week we go in depth on how to become successful in life and business. Nick, take it away.
Thanks for joining us here on another week of Real Estate Roundup, where we dive into inflation and interest rates. What do these two things have in common? It answers the biggest question, I feel like, for our home buyers out there, in that interest rates are directly tied to the inflation rate. And for those that keep scratching their head saying, why do these damn interest rates keep going up? It's because we still haven't had a full grasp on inflation. They go hand in hand. So that's really the biggest factor for our government to tackle inflation, is by raising those interest rates. And the housing market is really not separate, even though it does not always go hand in hand. It usually plays copycat. So with that being said, what is this decrease that we've seen here just recently? We're recording this on a Friday. This happened on what, Jay? Thursday, November 10th, this decrease in rates. So what does this mean for those of you right now thinking about buying a home? I'll tell you what it means. It means it's increased your borrowing power by in around 7.5%. What does that mean for dollars and cents? If you live in California, average cost of a home is $820,000, thereabouts. It means your borrowing power just went up approximately $61,000. It also means your monthly payment dropped by about $400. And we haven't even dove into what that means for our current housing market, in that sellers are willing to negotiate more now than they have really in a couple of years. And you have the least amount of competition that you've seen in years, especially with us going into these holiday times. So what are you waiting for? This is your sweet spot. And I don't know that you could create a better picture than this. Jay, that's my rant. What are your thoughts?
I think you just have to look at the market, right? Right now, sellers, if you're selling now, you missed the boat. I mean, sorry, you missed the boat for that way overpriced. People are just putting in tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking price. You missed that boat. It's pretty much sailed at this point. And so that was because a lot of people just couldn't qualify for that much of a mortgage to begin with. And that's because interest rates have continually climbed. I mean, before the whole Ukrainian war thing began, we were seeing interest rates in the 4s creeping up to the 5s, and people were like, oh God, the 4s, the 5s, because they were used to 3s and 2s for the last 2 years. Oh God, interest rates are in the 4s now. And then they creeped up to the 6s. Jesus. Now we're in the 6s. I can't buy now. And then they creeped up to the 7s. They're like, oh, just put me out. Take me out to pasture. I'm done. I just can't buy a house.
And grandma's still just rocking in her rocking chair. What's wrong with you? 7%. Are you crazy? It's nothing.
We're in the early 2000s. We're in the early 2000s interest rates. So this is not new to anyone. Now, home prices.
It is to some people.
No one that's been in the market.
First-time buyers.
No one's first-time buyers. No. But let's just talk about this a little bit, everyone. Let's take our blood pressure medication and just calm down, okay? Because at the end of the day, interest rates, yes, they're going up, but also the amount of people that are selling, those are going down because they're not getting a couple $100,000 more than what they thought their home was worth. Whoa, my $500,000 home can now sell for $700,000. Sign me up for that. That's not happening as much. So you are facing less competition, but you're also facing less homes. But at the same time, because those interest rates are up, less people can qualify for that absurd amount of money that they were able to before versus what they can now. It's more reasonable. Let's just put it that way. And so when everything gets more reasonable, especially with what people can qualify for, you can now get a home for a more reasonable price. So the homes that we were seeing just a few years ago that were marketed at $500,000 and then would sell for $600,000 are now actually having to take price cuts. So where it's now $475,000. It's, oh, okay, I'm actually getting the amount of house that I need to pay for. Like, I'm going to pay for the amount of house that I get versus what we saw in the last few years. So that is the good news when it comes to interest rates going up and now kind of leveling out, is that if you were qualified before, you now, like Nick said, qualify for more money. So that's a benefit with lowering interest rates. And let's not look at just 1 month, though, of a decrease in inflation, because next month, maybe it goes up. Maybe it goes up a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. But at the end of the day, if you're qualified now, it's like Nick said, what are you waiting for? Now's the perfect time to get in, because say interest rates do go up again or something crazy happens, who knows nowadays, goodness gracious. Right now, the market sees that it's, with these lower inflation numbers, the market sees a more calming of the storm. And so that's why interest rates went down. They have a little bit more faith in what's going to be happening the next few months. So take advantage of that.
And with that said, I've talked with a couple of those in the lending space here in California specifically, and they said the Fed's still talking about raising them again come December, just to make sure they've got inflation dealt with, just not by as much as they've increased it in recent times. So we don't expect this. Again, nobody has that crystal ball, but experts are not expecting this drop off to continue. So for those of you that say, I'm just going to wait for that next round of interest rate drops and then I'll buy a house when it goes back to 4.5%. Number one, my first question to you is, how confident are you that they're going to get to 4.5% or whatever magical percent you want that's lower than what today's rate is? And number two, what makes you think you're going to be the only individual on this planet, or not planet, but in the United States of America, looking to buy as
just basically the planet
continue to lower? So just something to be mindful of. I think a lot of people become so narrow-minded to think me, which is understandable because it's your house that you're trying to get. Nonetheless, you need to remember other people are probably waiting for the same thing. And that's why I will continue to shout from the mountaintops to say right now is such a sweet spot to buy, because you have motivated sellers that don't have multiple offers, that are willing to work with you. Like right now, we just talked about interest rates going down. They're willing to buy down your rate with a 3-2-1 buy down and a 2-1 buy down. So for those of you that are just like, what are you talking about, Nick? Is that a countdown? A 3-2-1 buy down is buying down your interest rate 3% from where today's rate is for that first year, 2% from where that rate is the second year, and 1% from where it currently is the third year, before you go back to and inherit whatever interest rate is done 3 years from today. So something to be mindful of. Again, that's like the gravy, right? That's like the icing on the cake to say, okay, my interest rate just got lowered by almost a full percent, and somebody else is willing to pay it down another 3% for the first year and 2%, 1%. Like, what? That was not a conversation 6 months ago.
No.
So if you're a prospective buyer right now, you're crazy, in my opinion, to not buy. Again, I'm not saying buy just for the sake of it. I'm saying if you know what you want, you know what you're pre-qualified for, then go make moves, because this will not be around. Mark my words, this will not be around 6 months from now. Why?
Yeah.
Because the holidays will have passed and we're just going to be in a different place. It's going to be springtime. You've got a lot more people looking in the March, April, May. It's cyclical. And what does more people looking mean? It means more competition. What does that mean? It means no room for negotiation anymore, because now you're back to that multiple offer situation to say, I'll waive my contingencies, or I'll not do this for the seller. And now the seller's saying, let's go, bring the multiple offers. So,
and on that too, my boss man says it best for the mortgage world. There's only 3 things that are going to happen with interest rates. They're going to go down, they're going to stay the same, or they're going to go up. 2 of those things are good. So you might as well just do it now. The odds though of them going up, let's reverse that. 2 of those things are, one of them is neutral, one of them is bad. So it doesn't actually affect you. If interest rates stay the same in the next month, great, you played a game of roulette. And if they go up though, now you just cost yourself however much money that's going to cost you. Not only to have that interest rate initially, but also if you want to buy down the rate to where it is today, that's going to cost a lot of money. And the only thing that you're hoping on is a 1 in 3 chance that they go down. So what are you waiting on? You're waiting on a 33% chance that they go down, which is not as likely as the other 2, especially that one where they all go up. That one's more likely than anything that there's a higher chance of them going up again at some point in the future than there is of them going down again in the near future. So if you can, take your opportunity to get that house now, get in the game. If you're already qualified, if you already know what you want, or start that qualification process so that you're not, again, playing and hoping and praying that the market doesn't change when you finally do decide to get your shit together.
No, I think that's it. And I think we've covered all the bases there. So I hope this hit home for someone. I hope this was an aha moment for someone saying, this is my time. take advantage of it because, again, the only constant in life is change. And I can promise you this will not be the case in 2 months, let alone 4 to 6 months. Hopefully you had some takeaways out of this one that dealt with today's current landscape of being inflation and the mortgage rates. So you want to join us for Friday, though, because we also get into a controversial topic. We did that on Monday with our political talk. Now on Friday, we're going to be talking about equal pay. What is your opinion on the equal pay? So until next week, for Beyond Real Estate and the Real Estate Roundup, this is This Week. Hope you enjoyed it.
Hey, thanks again for listening. If you want to hear more of Jalen McKenna, Colorado's mortgage dad, and his take on the Colorado real estate market, or just mortgages and mortgage news in general, check out the links below.
Also, check out the links below for more information on products, books, or references made in this podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.